And you know what else feels silly? The Super Saiyan 4 transformation. Now I love the transformation scene.
What's good? Put 3.5 in the backwood.
What the hell, Burton? What the hell, LeBron James? What the hell, Cyrus? What the hell, Yante?
What the hell, Yante? What the hell, on? What the hell, Barry? What the hell, Burton? What the hell, Brian James? What the hell, Cyrus?
What's good, y'all? We back with another video. Today, we on some more Dragon Ball shit, I ain't gonna lie. I really enjoyed making that that last Dragon Ball video I did. Like, cause I like talking about anime. I really like talking about anime. And I'm gonna have a One Piece video dropping soon, cause I just started Alabasta. So we on that. Today, we watching the biggest problems with Dragon Ball Daima. Y'all know Daima ended like a month ago now, right? His video was made hold on, I'm retarded. This video was made like 3 weeks ago though, so I'm a little late. Shout out to Big Toon. This is another one of his videos. Shout out to him. But let's get into it. The biggest problems with Daima. Off the rip, I got a problem. My problem is the fusion bugs, because these fusion bugs come by the end of the arc they gonna use them for something. Whole time they were just there, just to be there. I was just like, wow, okay. Like Toriyama, I ain't gonna lie. Toriyama's a big ass troll, bro. Another thing, I thought I thought she was gonna have a bigger impact than what she was. But it wasn't a bad show. I really enjoyed Daima. I feel like Daima brought back the adventurous part like that Dragon Ball had. But let's get into the video.
Dragon Ball Daima is officially over, and what a wild little detour that was. It had Toriyama's name on it, the animation was crisp, and everyone got hit with the Uno reverse card back to kindergarten. On paper, kinda fun. In execution, well, let's just say if you've ever wanted to see Goku fight for his life while standing 3 feet tall and arguing with a demon teddy bear, Daima had you covered. But now that the ride is over, it's time to talk about it, because for all of the nostalgia and cool moments, this series has problems. So in this video, we're gonna look back at Dragon Ball Daima and break down what went wrong, what could have been better, and why it might be the most interesting birthday gift Toriyama ever gave us. Now, my first problem with Dragon Ball Daima is with tone and thematic execution. Dragon Ball Daima has a light and playful tone which is geared toward younger audiences, and that alone isn't a problem to me. Toriyama originally created Dragon Ball as an adventure comedy, and Daima tries to bring back that energy. But in my opinion, that style isn't an adventure comedy, and Daima tries to bring
Toriyama had that shit on. Look at Tori Goat. Look at Tori Goat. He had that shit on, Twin. Twin had that shit on, fool, for real.
Back that energy. But in my opinion, that style isn't very entertaining to me anymore. I watched OG Dragon Ball. I love OG Dragon Ball, and I think the tone it has is perfect for those characters at that point in time. I understand that Goku and the rest of the cast are kids now, but knowing how strong they really are makes that OG Dragon Ball tone kinda jarring. It's a little too unserious when you know what's at stake. It's too many steps backwards in the sense that I think Dragon Ball has just outgrown using that tone for the majority of the story. Daima was also an opportunity to explore new lore or present a new
I get what he's saying. See, for me, I feel like they did it like that though, because it's a lot of new gen niggas that only know new Dragon Ball, like Dragon Ball Super. Like, it's a lot of new people. So they wanted to try to bring back that old school tone from Dragon Ball, so that way they get a vibe of, oh, this is like this. So then maybe they go back and watch the old shit maybe.
on the usual Dragon Ball journey. It being set in the demon realm is a plus, I will say that. But for all of the good things I can say about Daima, in reality, it's a much more polished version of GT. The only major changes is the demon world, and I think the demon world could have been a little more hostile, if that makes sense.
Facts.
Like, the demon world just feels like different planets in GT with some minor changes. Even the idea of the Demon King, my perception of Dabura would have led me to believe that Goma would have been a much different character and
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, this is a very good point. When we started the Demon Realm arc, the Demon Realm shit, bro, I was thinking, oh, these niggas finna be demons. Dabura was a crazy nigga, even though he was possessed by Babidi, so we don't even know if he was really like that for real. Well, shit, he overthrew the other nigga, so yeah, he was. He was that nigga. But it's like, my perception of it before Daima came out was like, oh yeah, Demon Realm probably some crazy shit. All these niggas is dying, fighting for their lives. Then you see this Goma nigga and he goofy as hell. Which, that's some Toriyama shit to do. So it's like, I can't even be mad at it, because that's some Toriyama shit.
much more sinister reasons for making the
It wouldn't be Dragon Ball if he didn't do that.
against the Z fighters. But in reality, Goma is just scared that someone beat Boo, so he made a wish to turn them back to children. I don't like that, plain and simple. I understand that many fans enjoy the comedic tone that Dragon Ball tends to have, and I'm one of those people. But in 2025, as an adult, and what I've already seen from Dragon Ball, it doesn't work for me. The supposed theme of Daima is the Demon King trying to handicap the heroes, but that is never truly compelling because the show never commits to developing an interesting reason for the Demon King to act this way. It just feels silly. And you know what else feels silly? The Super Saiyan 4 transformation. Now I love the transformation scene. And you know what else feels silly? The Super Saiyan 4 transformation. Now I love the transformation scene. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I was hyped like everyone else who saw the scene. I was hyped to see Goku fight Goma as a Super Saiyan 4 because after 30 years, it seemed like one of the franchise's most beloved forms was now canon. But after that hype died down, I had to look at this form and ask myself, does this make sense? And after weeks of sitting with these thoughts,
it doesn't. It doesn't make sense at all, but, you know, welcome to Dragon Ball. That shit don't make sense at all. And the explanation, that's when Goku and Vegeta were talking, that doesn't help it either. Bro, they could have literally just used the Namekian nigga as a way to explain it. It's Namekian powers, because he's in the demon realm. It just activated his saying shit more or some shit.
My answer is no. Let me explain. The reveal of the first Super Saiyan was memorable, not just because of the animation or the scream Goku let out or even the death of Krillin. No, it was memorable because to get to that form, we had to see Goku endure the worst kind of punishment. He pushed his body to the limit and saw his best friend murdered right in front of him, and with his back pushed against the wall, he snapped.
My goat!
Super Saiyan 2 was the same way.
That's my goat right there. That's my goat. Goku is my GOAT, my glorious king. That is my glorious king. If you got a favorite character, my question to you is, can he beat Goku? Because he can't. Dumbass.
Gohan was watching his friends get beat to death and he couldn't stop it, so he snapped. He let go of the reins. Super Saiyan 3 runs into some issues because we don't see how that form is achieved. There's no long-term build-up to it, and that's why many fans, including myself, don't like the form. Now we're in the present. Goku and his friends are fighting.
It's also useless besides in the movies. Useless as fuck.
Goma, and they're losing, and Goku has no way out. That's until Never stands over Goku and brings the power out of him. I think that was a huge mistake. I don't think any Saiyan exclusive transformation should be achieved that way, especially not one that embraces Saiyan roots in the way that
it devalues it. I get what he's saying. Yeah. It devalues the payoff of him achieving it by it being just pulled out of him like that. Especially Super Saiyan 4. Now the nigga got monkey arms and shit. Yeah, I get what he's saying.
There isn't a single story you could tell that can link Goma and the new Super Saiyan 4. Many fans, including myself, hypothesized that the new Super Saiyan 4 would be linked to the demon world, but nope. Goku just trained really hard after Buu, and that was it.
I feel like if they would have just leaned to that shit, it would have made more, at least a little bit more sense.
To the look, I love Super Saiyan 4. I've said that before. But in hindsight, it's clear that the form was only added to bring attention to the show and not to move the story forward in a meaningful way.
Of course.
Also, Goma stinks. He's not a good villain at all. I don't see an argument for someone saying he's a good one. That's it.
I'm gonna be real, Goma was underwhelming. I thought he was gonna actually get serious later on.
This is when I'll explain why the problems with Goma start to bleed into the overall feel of the show, because his introduction is when the pacing takes a hit. Dragon Ball Daima actually kicks things off with a solid rhythm. There's this fun, adventurous tone that carries the story while still making it clear that time is ticking. The characters are small, but the stakes are kind of big, and the pacing reflects that. It moves with purpose, but never feels like it's in a rush. Every location they visit and every character they meet feels like a meaningful step towards solving the mystery of their transformation. And that makes the early episodes really enjoyable for me. But once the plot shifts gears and Goma enters the picture, the pacing just kind of falls apart. It starts to feel like the show is in a hurry to wrap things up, rather than letting the tension build naturally. Characters like the Majins, Glorio, and Arensu, who were all shaping up to be important or at least interesting in their own way, get brushed aside almost instantly. And not because the story
Yes, exactly. Because Arensu and even both the Majins, Do and Ku, they were being built up to be like, okay, they're gonna matter towards the end. They're gonna have something to do with it, in which the Majin did, that smacked him in the head with the book. And the fat one, he was helping them fight. But it's just, other than that, everything else just kind of went to the wayside. And it was just focusing on beating up this Goma nigga.
Organically moved past him, but because it's now laser focused on Goma, who doesn't have nearly enough depth to carry the final stretch. The show sprinted to the finish line without taking a moment to breathe or reflect on the journey so far. I get that with only 20 episodes to work with, that's a tightrope to walk. You can't give every subplot a big resolution, and some sacrifices are inevitable. But the way Daima handles its final act feels less like a tough call and more like a missed opportunity. The pacing gets so frenetic that instead of a strong emotional payoff, we're left with something that feels hollow. The show had done such a good job laying the groundwork for a world full of quirky new characters and mysteries.
It started out so fucking good. It's just once Goma got his fucking eyeball, it just like toward the end, it just started, you know.
Only to rush.
It was still good though. I still enjoyed it. It's just, you know, hindsight is 20/20. Now we can look back over it and really see, all right, you know, right here it was just a little, you know what I'm saying?
All of it just to make room for a villain who doesn't deserve the spotlight. It's not that the ending is outright bad, it's just not very satisfying. And the last and most important problem I have with Dragon Ball Daima is the overall story. Dragon Ball Daima feels like a self-contained misstep, but it highlights a bigger issue that's been brewing in the Dragon Ball franchise for a while. Coming into Daima, fans were already in a weird spot timeline-wise. We knew it was set after Z, but it was unclear whether it was before or during Super, and even if you did know, it didn't really help because the timeline has become such a mess. There's this looming problem where the end of Dragon Ball Z is still supposed to be canon, but Super keeps piling more and more developments that could clash with it. At some point, someone's gonna have to explain how we go from Ultra Instinct, God Ki, and multiverse tournaments to Goku just casually flying off with Oob like nothing happened.
I mean, shit. Or they don't have to. Or they just don't explain it. I can see that still happening though. There's just a tournament. World's at peace now or some shit. There's a tournament. They just reanimate this, throw Beerus in there somewhere. They reanimate this, but throw Beerus in there and throw all the friends, Beerus, Whis, Pan. You feel me? They could do it like that. Because, I mean, it's not like there's a big-ass fight at the end of the Z part. So they could just do that, have him fly off, teach Oob, and then if they're still trying to continue Dragon Ball, just have some godly threat pop up, and bam. Next arc. Goku has to come back.
It's becoming.
But I also get what he's saying. Super, from where we are in Super at the manga to end of Z. What the fuck?
Harder and harder to believe that the pieces still fit, and Daima doesn't help. If anything, it adds another layer of confusion. What makes it worse is that Daima had a chance to lean into that uncertainty in an interesting way. This was a unique moment to explore some quiet in-between space in the timeline and provide an introspective or transitional period for the characters. Instead, we got something that leans more into gimmick than growth. Sure, the character designs and setting were cute, but none of it contributed meaningfully to the larger narrative of Dragon Ball, and it didn't offer much depth on its own either. For a franchise that's been around for decades and has a fan base that's largely grown up with it, there's a disconnect between what the audience is ready to explore and what the show is actually giving us. Daima ends up feeling like another surface level detour when a lot of fans are hungry for substance. That's the frustrating part for me personally. As I've gotten older, it's harder to ignore the cracks in the storytelling.
If you listen to what the fans want, don't listen to Dragon Ball fans. Dragon Ball fans don't fucking read. Dragon Ball fans are very delusional. But 90% of the fan base just wants the shit that they talked about in Super explored upon. Like Vegeta visiting Sadala, seeing the Saiyans and shit.
I think there's a more mature conversation to be had about how Dragon Ball treats its own continuity and whether it values long-term narrative cohesion. And look, not everything has to be this super intricate adult drama. Dragon Ball has always thrived on simplicity and fun. But there's a difference between keeping things light and just brushing aside your own history. Other series like One Piece show that it's absolutely possible to stick to childlike wonder and goofy premises while still offering rich, layered storytelling that rewards long-term investment. In One Piece, the older you get, the more you appreciate it. With Dragon Ball,
you know, that's one reason why I'm glad. I'm gonna take a little detour right here. That's one reason why I'm glad I'm watching One Piece now instead of when I was little. Because certain shit, I'm like, damn. I just wouldn't have understood, and I just wouldn't have got the narrative and shit and what the author was trying to say. That's why I'm kind of glad I'm watching it now instead of when I was little.
I feel the opposite. Daima doesn't offer anything to the mature side of the fan base. Those of us who've been here for years, who know every arc, every transformation, every tiny contradiction, instead of adding clarity or at least acknowledging the broader scope of the series, it felt like another isolated spin-off with no real ambition beyond short-term novelty. Maybe that's fine for some viewers, and maybe Dragon Ball doesn't need to reinvent itself for us. But if the franchise is going to keep telling new stories, I think it owes it to the fans to tell stories that actually matter. Ones that respect where the series has been and take seriously where it's going. Otherwise, we're just watching the same cycle repeat while pretending the story still has somewhere to go. But after saying all of this, I'm starting to slowly realize something. Maybe I shouldn't even be talking about a series like this so critically. Maybe it was just a celebration of the franchise.
That's what I
Maybe
feel.
I just
That's
need
what
to
I look at it
appreciate
like.
all of the dreams Toriyama has made come true recently. But maybe not. Maybe Dragon Ball is getting worse. Maybe the fans have outgrown Dragon Ball. And that leads to my next video. Maybe Dragon Ball needs to die. Let me know down.
Maybe both things are true. Both can be true. Maybe, yeah, what you just said. That's why I replayed it, because I couldn't remember it word for word. This was a really good video, though. Should have watched this one before watching the newer one, but I didn't know yet. So here we are with this one. You know what I'm saying? The biggest problems with Dragon Ball Daima. Bless me. But that's it for this one. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. A lot of the points he made was shit that I had mentioned in the beginning. So it's like, yeah, we kind of feel the same way. It's just he feels a little more strongly about certain things than I do. And overall, as a story and as where it fits in the whole narrative, it's kind of shaky. And the ending was kind of, yeah. But that's it for this one. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Shout out Big Toon for making the video. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. I'm going to see y'all again.
See, if I snuck up in your bedroom, touch you while you sleep, would you act surprised as if you didn't know it's me?